The problem with chargers that come with your device, generally, you only have one port. The solution? In the past, that used to be something big and bulky like this that only had 2 connections on it and could only output 30 watts max. The solution? Smaller than you think. Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Anker 735 65 watt charger. First thing you might notice is compared to that 30 watt charger that we had before, this is remarkably smaller in form factor. In some cases, it is half the size. And while we're talking about size, we are talking about a length of 2.6 inches with a width of 1.5. So this is a ridiculously small device. And you kind of saw right there, well, guess what? This actually has 3 connection options on the back. You have 2 USB-C and then 1 USB-A. Now, the total wattage output for this is 65 watts. If you start using multiples, that will lower the wattage because it's going to dynamically push as much power as it can to specific devices while maintaining the optimal output. The overall device itself, as you can see, it's got this matte black finish all around. The front facing here, if I get that to focus a little bit, there's a little silver accent piece right there, and then even more difficult to see on camera, it's actually a little textured beveling right there. Bringing it around to the front end of things, well, this does have a collapsible prong, which I do appreciate because that helps you save on space, and there's just a little accent channel around there. One of the things with prongs that collapse that I'm always concerned with is the ability for them to withstand accidental bump. So you can see right there, I'm actually, you can see my thumb is changing colors a little bit. I'm actually putting a decent amount of downward force on this to try and get this to collapse again. And it does actually need a substantial amount of force and then quickly kind of springs itself back into the wall charger, which is great. Now, one thing that you do not get with the Anker 735 here is any charging cables. You will be providing your own charging cables. However, you do get something that you don't normally get with a charging brick like this, and that is a wall adapter. This is a silicone adapter with a bunch of suction cups on the back of it. So the idea behind this is that you place this against a outlet, and these suction cups kind of help keep this in place a little better. So you can see right here, we just kind of push that into place like that, and then this would be the back view, and obviously your prongs would be out already, but that would be sticking against the wall. And that is to help support this on older outlets that might not be able to accept the weight of this. This is ridiculously light, it is less than a pound, but older outlets might have a problem with that, so you have the suction cup. The beauty of the size of this also is you can have 2 of these stacked one on top of each other, giving you a total of 6 possible peripherals that you could be charging off of the 2 separate devices. But let me give you an example of what this looks like in the wall, as well as what the silicone adapter here kind of looks like and helps with this. Here we can see the plug in one of my adapters here, and you notice that there's plenty of room right here for another one if I wanted to. I could have 2 of these stacked on top of each other. Now, one of the things with this particular plug, being that this is an older outlet, you can see kind of can easily fall out. But if we utilize the adapter here and we kind of leave the prongs out, put that in place, and then come along and push that in, you can see we'll just suction cup that into place. Granted, utilizing this, you are going to eat into some of the usable space down here. You're not going to be able to use 2 plugs if you're using the adapter. However, if I didn't have a wall plate that was egregiously painted over, this would stick a little better and kind of help it not jiggle as much. At least it's not falling out like it did before. And again, if this is a smooth wall plate, this would help it to stay in place much better. There you saw really small form factor, good peripheral. Peripheral gets in the way of some things if you wanted to use 2 of these, but that's a small thing because you're really not going to need to use that too often. Now, coming back up to our charging areas, I want to state that unlike some other ones that I've tested in the past, these don't actually light up. So if you need to keep this plugged into a wall at all times, you don't have to worry about a light disturbing you if you're keeping this in a bedroom. You might have seen the GaNPrime branding for this Anker charger. That is Anker's new push with the 7 series stuff. That GaNPrime is kind of their code for like a lot of stuff that you're getting with it. One being Power IQ 4.0 for the charger here. So you can see right there, that's powered by the IQ4 right there. You also have their Active Shield technology, which pretty much monitors the temperature of it 3 million times per day. There is a host of other things. They have a 7-point system. I won't get into that. There's a lot that goes into this for the price that you're paying. But one of the things that I like to test is, well, they're telling you how much throughput you can actually get. Well, what does that look like in real situations, in real scenarios, as well as this is outputting quite a bit of power for such a small device. What are the temperatures like for this when actively charging at the highest watt capacity? Well, let's take a look at that. Here we have the plug actually plugged in, powered on. I've got a little voltmeter here. We will plug this into the USB-A, and there we could see we get 5 volts out. Sadly, I don't have a voltmeter for the USB-Cs. But what we'll do is we will take a USB-A to USB-C cable here, and we will plug it in so that we can see the draw. I've got my Pixel phone just dying to be charged so that I can make sure that it will pull the maximum amount out. And here we can see the voltage dropped to 4.67 with amperage being 1.39. And just for clarification, here we have Ampery tool on my phone showing a minimum of 880 milliamps and a maximum of 1350 milliamps. And there you can see the current draw right out of the IQ boost right here. Take that out. We're going to plug it directly into our USB-A to see if there was any change based on, sending it through the tool first. So we're just going to give this a chance to read itself, and there you can see it actually has increased to a minimum of 1360 and a maximum of 1510, and there you see it's holding steady. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both of those, I'm going to plug in a USB-C cable directly into the phone and allow that to get a moment to measure, and then we're going to use the IQ one as opposed to the one that's meant for the laptop first. And here we go. Here you can see minimum of 3720, maximum of 3840, and there you have 3840 sustained for milliamps. And we're gonna swap this to our top one, and then here we have minimum of 3790 and a max of 3840, and then 3840 sustained. And starting off just from our little tests, we're gonna quickly take a reading. And just from the little bit of tests that we were doing, it is 70.9. We will come back after a half an hour and see how that is. And after 30 minutes, only 82 degrees. So as far as electronics go, that's not bad at all. So while it is a little warm to the touch, don't really have to worry about that catching anything on fire. Next, we'll test the maximum output from this using an Anker power bank and 140 watt USB cable. So we're going to plug that in there, and then we're going to plug it into the top of my charging brick right here, and we're going to give that a chance to start up, and it's pulling about 58 watts right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this on for about 30 minutes, see how hot it gets based on pulling the 58 watts temperature reading for the maximum pull that I was getting here. So it seems the average 115. I'm getting a high of 122 in some areas, 125 towards the voltage area that plugs in. But overall, not that bad. Yeah, 124 on that reading. And we'll do the top here. Only 111 to 108. So even with something doing a very high draw, the power brick itself is not going to get warm enough that it's going to hurt anything that it might be leaning against, but it will get a bit warm. As you saw, I managed to get it up to 137 degrees Fahrenheit when I was really pulling to charge that Anker battery, but all in all, it was still cool enough to the touch that I wouldn't have to worry about leaving this somewhere and it accidentally catching on fire. Again, that's also part of the GaNPrime, where it's constantly checking itself for fire hazards, for overcharge. It's a lot of brains in this small package. Now, one of the things I will mention is that as far as small compact chargers go, this is not going to be one of the cheaper ones. You are paying for all of those extras, but those extras are well worth it. However, this has come down considerably in price since I've originally got it, and there's also a model that's slightly more expensive but has a higher output. Right now, I don't have any laptops that would run off of something like this that would need that higher output. So for me, the 65-watt form factor here that I can charge 3 devices off at a time is just great for me. Because of all that, I highly recommend checking out the Anker 735 65-watt charger. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.